Salufalava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susanna Suisuiki. Coming up.
Once they are into the US mining, that means they are out of ISA.
Tonga is in talks with a metals company also.
My biggest thing is praying and keeping my faith intact while being away from, family.
We meet the Samoan athlete living out his American football dreams, and thousands are turning up for Te Mai Vanui. In Tonga, the government is considering a new deep-sea mining contract with Canadian mining group The Metals Company, or TMC. It comes at a time of increasing uncertainty in the industry with the US and the International Seabed Authority, the world's deep-sea mining regulator, both saying they offer a pathway to mine in international waters. TMC appears to be hedging its bets, showing interest in both, a choice Tonga now appears to be facing. Te Wilo Fortai has more.
We are the sponsor country, and sponsor country will be responsible for any damages to the ocean. So it's not the company, it's the sponsoring state that will be responsible. Right? And I think from that perspective, we are quite concerned.
That's Drew Javier of the Civil Society Forum of Tonga, a grassroots NGO that has long advocated against deep-sea mining. They've been invited by the government to consult on the proposed contract from the Metals Company, or TMC.
And I know TMC have made the application to be part of the US. So from the civil society, we hope that the Tongan government don't do anything. Because once they are into the US mining, that means they are out of ISA. And the contract that we have signed has binded us into the ISA.
Mr. Javier is referring to the legal turmoil that's come from President Donald Trump's executive order earlier this year. The ISA is the world's deep-sea mining regulator, according to international oceans law. The US is effectively challenging that. It says its own domestic legislation gives it authority in international waters as well. TMC, according to international environmental lawyer Laurie Osmondson, is making the most of that, and it's pulling its Pacific partners like Tonga and Nauru with it.
And part of the regulations under the U.S. Act specify that if you're going to apply for a mining or commercial recovery permit, you must first hold an existing exploration license. And so TMC was likely thinking, okay, well, we have one, but it's under the ISA system, so we need to sort of make sure we've got all our ducks lined up and get our sponsor countries, Nauru and Tonga, to sign on to a new agreement.
Tonga's government did not respond to an urgent request for comment. The country, along with Nauru, has special rights through international oceans law in a deep-sea mining area of the Pacific Ocean. Both have contracted TMC to explore their areas, but no commercial mining has occurred. The ISA hasn't finalised a mining code either, which TMC says is holding up progress. The company signed a new contract with Nauru at the end of May.
And that is publicly available. And looking at that, if that's the recipe for a similar proposed new agreement between Tonga and TMC, it sort of continues all of the problems, the legal risks and hazards of the current agreement, and then adds a whole new set.
Ms. Osmondson says these problems include a lack of due process when the contract was signed by the former Prime Minister in 2021. The Civil Society Forum of Tonga still hasn't received an answer on whether it was approved by Cabinet at the time, as required by the country's laws. Mr. Javier says he is more hopeful this time around.
We know there's a new contract that is put forth to the Ministry of Lands and Survey. So we are looking forward to be part of that discussion, and we hope soon.
Mr. Javier wants the government to do nothing. He believes TMC is already committed to the US mining pathway, which doesn't feature in Tonga's existing contract. Without that, he says the country could get out of deep-sea mining altogether.
Tonga's only domestic airline is now back up and running following disruptions to its services last week. The Civil Aviation Office suspended its engineering license on July 18th. The suspension halted domestic flights to outer islands from July 19th until it was temporarily lifted last 23rd of July. Our correspondent Kalafi Moala says he understands the issues have been resolved.
The compliance requirements have been corrected. They have been issued a certificate to enable them to fly. So that for 2 days there were no flights to these islands, and of course that affected a lot of people who were traveling, and so there were a lot of public complaints on that.
The Minister of Public Enterprises told media that Lulutai Airlines Limited had been warned of air safety non-compliances since April, but the issue dated back to the airline's establishment. Lulutai Airlines Limited, which is government-owned, has been operating since 2020. Kalafi Moala says the cancellation of the Lulutai Airlines flights is terrible for the tourism industry in the kingdom. He says June, July and August are the peak tourism months in Tonga.
We have a lot of visitors, not only Tongans from overseas, but also tourists that are here during this time. And so to have a cancellation of flights really is terrible for the industry. It means that some of the people who were ready to connect with overseas flights or who were coming from overseas to connect to outer islands couldn't make it.
Kalafi Moala says domestic flights in Tonga are the key to the country's tourism. A retreat owner in Ha'apai told RNZ there's still some uncertainty over flights to the island, with Tonga's only domestic carrier under close watch by the Civil Aviation Office. Clint Cantrell, who owns the Sea Change Eco Retreat in Ha'apai, says people want to be sure they can get to their holiday destination and return. He says more information would be helpful. A Samoan athlete has recently been drafted in the European League of Football, the highest professional American football league outside of North America. Hailing from South Auckland, Zaire Ungapo is one of 2 players from New Zealand to be among the league, playing for the Panthers Wrocław in Poland. I caught up with Zaire and began by asking him how he became interested in American football.
It started off with my dad and my uncle. They started playing around 2003, and I've just been around those sports since then. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
I mean, obviously it's given you the opportunity to travel, but what do you love most about football?
I love the process of football. I love like the preparation, the discipline it teaches you, and then you kind of take everything that you learn from football out in the real world, like with life. And I think that's the biggest thing that drew me to it, is that it was helping me outside of football.
So how did you end up in the Europe League?
2021, I was kind of like jobless. I had nothing going for me. Then I just started emailing different teams, like if you were to like apply for a job. And then this one team in France took a chance on me, and yeah, the ball's just been rolling like really fast since then.
Where else has football taken you besides France and Poland?
Yes, I've played in Perpignan, France. So that's like the south of France. That same year I played in Potsdam, Germany. The following year I played in Prague, Czech Republic. Then last year I went back to Germany. I signed to Hamburg, Germany. And then this year I came to Wrocław, Poland.
A lot of places and cities you've been to. How do you deal with the homesickness?
And honestly, that's just the calling my family, calling my fiance as well. They stay up for my games as well. And you can imagine like the time difference. It's like 10 hours. My biggest thing is praying and keeping my faith intact while being away from, family, because usually we'll always pray together and stuff. But yeah, that's helped me a lot since being over in Europe.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, staying connected through prayer. In all the places that you've been to, have you been able to connect with other Pacific communities? Are there much Pacific people, from your end?
Yeah, like my first year when I went to Germany, I met a Samoan from California, we played on the same team. His name was Manasseh Time. It was like, it was cool meeting someone for the first time from America and seeing how similar we are, like being Samoan and stuff, like our morals and like even our little banters and stuff. That was cool. Also, when I was in Perpignan, France, that same year, a rugby league player named Sam Tompkins, I met him randomly, and then he took me to a conversation, and I met like heaps of islanders, Pacific Islanders, and in the small city I was playing for, they were all rugby players and stuff. But it was super surreal, like seeing like James Maloney, meeting like Kishipulu, Henry Tuilangi. Yeah, man, that was really cool.
Oh, nice. And I guess with you connecting with other Pacifica people, that's also helped with homesickness as well, right?
Yeah, for sure. It was like a first-hand view of like seeing how people come from where we're from as well, but come settle here and see
Mm.
what their lives are like. Yeah, it was super cool.
Hey, just looking ahead, do you have any other aspirations with your football career? Do you want to stay overseas a bit longer, or do you plan on coming back home?
I do plan on coming back home, but I really do want to help other kids, just like me, get an opportunity to play over in Europe. Also, just to help coach the real younger kids that are slowly getting into the game. I do plan on playing uh, a few more years, but yeah.
Did you ever see yourself playing American football, like in the NFL?
Yeah, that's always been the dream. I think that goes for every kid that plays NFL, plays football. That's always the dream, to make it to the big stage.
So what are you doing to make that happen?
Just working on my craft. Every season I'm seeing what I can get better at. I know the window's slowly closing, so it's kind of like, yeah,
Now or
just
never,
trying to
eh?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You probably want to go and get some breakfast, but is there anything else that you'd like to share?
No, yeah, I just want to say thank you to my fiance for kind of making this happen. She helped me rebuild my faith with God, and the rest is history.
Celebrations are underway in the Cook Islands for the nation's 60th constitutional anniversary. Rarotonga has been bustling with an influx of visitors and tourists alike. Some have travelled by sea or air to mark the incredible milestone. And joining me from the Cook Islands is our very own Tiana Hexton. Kia ora ana, Tiana. First of all, tell me about Te Maiva Nui. How many people are turning up for the celebrations?
How about kia ora ana, Sana? Yes, it's turning out to be a really busy year. So there's thousands of people here. I was at the float parade on the first day of it just the other day, and there were well over 1,000 people lining the streets just to watch the float parade. And there was at least double that number in the float parade itself. I think there were like 45 floats altogether representing the different islands, the different villages on the main island of Tonga, as well as some businesses and schools. So it was huge. And I actually wasn't able to get a ticket to the first night of the actual dance performances because it was sold out. It's been that busy.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of images and videos from the cultural performances. I heard that there are over 2,000 spectators at the auditorium.
Yeah, so that's the capacity. And that's just inside. So they also have the screens outside, and those who weren't able to get a ticket were still able to watch it, as well as those who have gone outside to get a kai to eat. They were able to continue watching the performances, and they also have it live streaming online. So that's how I got to watch it. And there were thousands of people tuned in online as well.
You know, besides the communities that have come from the outer islands, where else have people flocked from? Have some flocked from overseas, such as New Zealand and Australia? Like, where else?
Yes, so I know there were almost 1,000 people from just the outer islands themselves coming across, whether that be by air or by boat. I think there are about 600 coming in from the northern Cook Islands by boat, and so that's like a week-long trip for some of them. And yes, there are there are communities coming from New Zealand and Australia. I know for sure New Zealand, because there's some of the teams participating in this year's Te Maiva Nui have actually split up their performance responsibilities, like the community from the outer island itself is responsible for doing maybe performance A, B, and then the Rarotonga, the mainland-based community members representing their island, preparing the other performance, and then those from Aotearoa, the community representing a particular island, preparing another performance. So they've all come together here in Rarotonga, shown each other what they're doing, and then they're all going and rocking the stage with everything they've got.
Yeah, sounds awesome, and I can't wait to hear more about it. What else can we expect in the next few days, Tiana?
So tomorrow, actually, they'll be kicking off with the trade days, which I am really looking forward to. So it'll be a massive market event happening, and you have got to love it when it happens when all of the Paenua communities have come over to join in the Te Maiwanui, because they'll be bringing in all of their handicrafts, specialty delicacies and whatnot from the outer islands themselves. So I've budgeted accordingly to get myself some woven goods and and some kai. So I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, of course, can't miss the performances happening over the next, I think it's over the next week. Wraps up next Sunday is when it'll be wrapping up, because it's Monday here currently, actually. So it'll be wrapping up this Sunday. So we've got a week long of dance performances every single night, starting from 7 p.m. So it'll be packed rosters each night. I think it's like more than a dozen teams participating this year. And so I can't wait.
Oh, awesome. Will you be performing, or will you be participating at any of the activities, or are you just there as a full-time spectator?
Yeah, well, this year is actually the first year, I think, in maybe 8 years where I'm actually not involved at all. I'm actually here just as a spectator, and I'm actually enjoying it. So I get to take my time strolling the streets and checking out what's going on. So I'm just here as a full-time spectator. I've brought my son with me, so he's about 7 months old now, and it'll be his first time getting immersed in our culture. Just enjoying being in the crowd this year.
I'm sure baby is enjoying taking in all the sights and the smells and the sounds of his homeland.
Yeah, he's definitely got the island legs. Going through the float parade, and they had all the drums going, and his legs were going just as fast.
Oh, how beautiful. Hey, Tiana, as someone who was raised in the Cook Islands, what do you think are some of the significant milestones the nation has achieved in the lead up to its 60th anniversary?
Ooh, that's a good question. I reckon just how the nation's developed over the years, especially in terms of tourism and I think there's this new generation coming in. There's been more of a push. Well, not more of a push, but there's been a bit more interest in. Cough. But yeah, I've known young ones that are more interested now in learning about their cultures, especially those from New Zealand that are coming across and getting involved. So it's great to see that there are people coming across from New Zealand and getting involved, and then there'll be a later Te Maiwanui in New Zealand as well for the New Zealand Cook Islands community.
Yeah.
But yeah, tourism is definitely just amped up over the years here. Like, the streets are full of locals and tourists alike. I went to go and try and get my driver's license renewed the other day, and it was packed with tourists getting their temporary licenses for while they're here as well. And yeah, the island is just full. Everything is full, but it's such a vibe at the same time.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā soifua.